Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ken Smith. I'm honored to serve as the mayor of the city of Vader, and I'm grateful to have each and every one of you present with us at this regularly scheduled city council meeting, which I will officially call to order at 6 p.m. on this, the 25th day of April 2019. I'm especially grateful to see the elected members of the City Council present with us this evening, full quorum. But with that, we'll proceed with our roll call and invite our City Clerk to conduct that for us.
Randy Hall, present. Jason Daly,
Here.
Joe Shy,
Here.
Mike Parsons,
Here.
Leona Sander Hunter, here. Mayor Smith.
Also present. Okay, with that, with a full quorum as noted, we will proceed now with our Pledge of Allegiance and would invite all to please rise. And Leona, I know your voice is nearly gone, but would you start with
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll proceed with the first item on our agenda, and that is the mayor's report. I would felt it would be appropriate to remind the members of the council and the public that on May 23rd of next month, there will be a public hearing at our next council meeting. It'll be held in the middle of the actual meeting.
It's actually 2 council meetings out, not the very next one.
Oh, you're right. Thank you for catching that. May 23rd, and it will be a public hearing to hear public comments regarding an application for CDBG grant funding. So would tell your friends, neighbors to come and participate in that. Item number 2, I wanted to remind the council and all present that we are proceeding on schedule with the income survey from Econometrica, and you should be receiving something in the mail if you haven't already, informing you of that survey. And we're urging everyone, of course, to participate in it. We simply must get 80% or above of the residents within the city limits of Vader to turn in those survey reports. Yes.
I do have a little bit updated information that I've learned
Okay.
from talking with Econometrica, because I heard from some people that they said, well, I haven't gotten anything in the mail yet. And so I checked with them and they said the first mailing they did is not going out to everybody. I don't know how they select, or if that they only have to request the information from a certain number of people. I'm not sure how all that works, but they said don't be alarmed if you didn't get one. There's another round that will be getting mailed out, I think, at the end of this week, so tomorrow. And you may be included in that one. If you're not, still don't be alarmed. They will be coming to the city to try to make up as many as they need to, going door to door. So that will be another avenue. So if you don't get anything in the mail, don't be concerned that you're being left out or that they forgot you. It's just I guess they only have to select a certain amount of people, and then they have to get 80% of that certain amount that they have sent the letters to. The second thing that we've learned is that some people have called on the telephone number that's provided and gotten an answering service. It says no one's in the office right now, and they said that's because they're on the East Coast and they don't have somebody to staff the phone 24 hours a day. So don't be alarmed. Go ahead and leave your phone number and someone will call you back, or you can call earlier in the day. So basically until 5 o'clock our time, they will have staff there, which is 8 o'clock their time. So if you need to call, try calling before 5 o'clock our time. So in any event, those are the information that we've got.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. All right, then the last item I wanted to bring to your attention involves the fire inspection services notice. I believe that you received that letter in your packet. from our city clerk. It's dated April 23rd, 2019, and I wanted to emphasize to the council members that we have been informed by Ken Cardinale, the fire chief for the city of Chehalis, that has been overseeing over the past several years the fire investigation services for cases in which arson is suspected. And they've indicated that they need to terminate the interlocal agreement that we've had in place in the city since December 15th, 2016. The reason for this termination, you'll note in the letter, but to make it as a matter of public record, is that they are experiencing a lack of trained and certified fire investigators. This is due to internal and external issues which have arisen over the past few months and within recent weeks. Our fire investigator staffing has dropped from a prior staff of 4 to 1. This staff reduction will not allow us to fulfill the terms of the agreement. One sole investigator could not serve the entire county or meet the requirements in terms of the agreement. And so it's with regret that they're submitting to us this written notice of cancellation. So what does that mean? It means that if we, heaven forbid, have home fire or some fire that involves potential arson, we will not have post-fire or post-event investigation services provided to us.
After 60 days.
Oh,
We have
after 60 days.
first.
Okay, so we got 60 days to find a remedy for this situation. So
Well,
I know that we will
however,
initiate
it
efforts.
seems kind of grim, but they provide the fire investigation service for everyone in the county, including the county themselves. And we just have a separate contract with them to do what's inside the city limits. So the county is at the same time scrambling and trying to figure out what they're going to do too. So we're all the communities in our county are in the same boat with this situation. Chehalis is the only one that isn't, because it's their city that has the fire department, I believe. But in any event, we're waiting to kind of see what emerges, and we're working with the fire department and talking with them and with the county and seeing what everyone's doing, if there's other people who's going to fill in, because we all will need this service. And so we're all kind of working towards it. But this is just a heads up to let you know this is coming, and that we will be working to try and find a replacement, because it is something that does need to happen. We do need to have a contract in place, so we have 60 days before we lose their service, so hopefully we'll have something in place by then.
Thank you. So with that, that concludes the mayor's report. Now let's proceed with any council report that you may have or would like to share with the public.
We're just getting ready for May Day. We are kind of having a little difficulty finding like stuffed animals. If you know any parents out there with an overabundance of little stuffed animals that we can give away at May Day, let us know.
New or something?
We gently used. We'll throw them in the wash machine. You know, if they're
Okay.
no stuffed animals that were dog chew toys or anything like that.
Alrighty. Thank you for that. It's a big event. May 4th.
Yep, it's coming up fast.
Okay. Anyone else? Hearing none, then we'll proceed with our agenda, with the agenda approval for this evening's meeting. And I personally don't have any additional agenda items to add. So I would await council action.
I'll make a motion that we approve the city council meeting agendas for April 25th, 2019 as written.
You've heard Mr. Parsons submit a motion to submit the agenda as written and approve the agenda as written. Do we have a second? Seconded by Mr. Hall. Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay, that motion is carried. Now we'll address the approval of the minutes from our previous city council meeting.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes for the city council meeting on 4/11/2019 as written.
Okay. And Mr. Daly submitted a motion to approve the minutes from our previous city council meeting as written. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. Sunder. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? That motion is carried. Now, voucher approvals for the period specified.
I'll make a motion to approve the vouchers. First half of April 2019 in the amount of $55,217.21, and the end of April 2019, $9,780.32, for an April 2019 total of $64,997.53.
Okay, Mr. Shai submitted a motion to approve the vouchers expended in the amounts indicated. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Daly. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? That motion is carried. Okay. All right, now it's time for our special reports. And we're pleased to have Ken Jocelyn with us on the park board. And he's going to be providing a report. Park board's activities.
Well, I don't have very much to report, except I'm here, and Stephanie was supposed to be here tonight to report, but she got called in for work and stuff like that. Sorry, I'm Ken Joslin, I'm on the park board. Just one report that we have something that we're giving to the council tonight for a review of some fees. So hopefully they will agree with us and we can change that. Kelly Shai is still out on health, so we're hoping that she comes back next month because we desperately need her back. And she does a way better job of running the meetings than I do, so I really want her back. And let's see here, that's pretty much it. We're working on trying to get some funding for McMurphy Park, and we're working on a thermostat. One of those thermostats that you see all through the community. Thermometer, there you go. Apparently we used to have one, but we cannot track it down. So if anybody knows how to get one, or has one.
Like for the fundraising thermostat?
Yes. We would love to have one.
Yeah,
We haven't seen that.
well, I understood that Judy Costello.
Yeah,
Had that in
and
your
we've
possession.
hit that, and
Wow.
we've hit other things,
Yeah,
and
and she asked me, because we used it for the hot dog stand
Well,
one time, and I think that's the last time I seen it, so.
It's kind of disappeared. I know I checked with John and he says it's not over at the shop, so nobody really knows where it is, so
Yeah,
might have to make a new one. Just a
well,
piece of plywood.
we were checking into, we have one of our council members, board members, that we're going to check into seeing about buying one, because I guess you can buy one from Amazon, so we're checking. We were going to see how much it was, and then if it wasn't too much, ask you guys if we could spend a little bit of money, because I think that would be a big help generate some
totally.
motivation for the community and excitement and stuff like that. So
Okay,
that's all I
excellent.
got.
Well, thank you for that report.
Okay.
Okay, with that, I think we're ready now to dive into our official city business. Item number one is a perfect segue. That involves the participation on the park board. You should all have in your packets a letter prepared, dated April 25th, 2019, informing you that Polo Totai has been released as a member of the City of Vader Park Board, effective April 23rd. Whoops, the date should be 2019, 29.
29, wow.
Okay. As you, I'm sure, know, Polo Totai has been serving on that board for several years. And we're at the start of summer, and his employment has been problematic for him. because has his own business, and so his time is not his own. But that's not unusual, we know that. So I felt it was appropriate and timely at this time to release him from that function on the park board, and I did express appreciation to him for the service that he has rendered wonderfully over the years on the board. But we don't need a vacuum, and we know that the park board needs staffing, given the health issues that some are dealing with. So I've extended an invitation to an individual who served on the park board before, and she was unable to continue there for a variety of reasons. But so you'll note that I talked to Takesha Callisto, and was it O or A?
It's an A.
Oh my goodness.
That's okay, I changed everybody else's
Good
to
catch.
say.
Man, our neighbor and I should have known
It's
it.
okay.
Anyway, she's had experience. You will read the phraseology that I use, but I'd make it a matter of public record that I consider her a very civic-minded individual, who's personable, respectful, and works well with others. And she is, from my perspective, highly motivated to contribute to the betterment of our community, and is particularly interested in helping the city improve its parks. So, for those reasons, I'm pleased to present Takesha Callista to you for your confirmatory vote to serve as a member of the City of Bader Park Board. And would invite council input or feedback or actions, whatever you may feel is appropriate.
What does what do you have to bring to the park board? You got a good lawnmower?
My smile face. You've heard my lawnmower. It's decent. Just
This
me.
is her, by the way, everybody.
Mhm. Well, if he brings a lawnmower, that's
Yeah, right.
pretty impressive.
It's loud, but it works.
That's right. You'll know when it's in it. It's good.
I have no reservations.
Okay. Submit a motion to confirm.
I'll submit a motion that we confirm Ms. Callista as the park board member.
Okay, you've heard a motion submitted by Mr. Daly to confirm Takesha Callista as a member of the Bader City Park Board. We have a second, I heard, Mr. Hall. Any other thoughts, input, comments? Okay, hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? The voting has been unanimous. Congratulations. We appreciate it. Very nice.
Please talk to me afterwards, we'll set up a oath of office.
Okay. Item number 2, council to consider resolution 06-2019, the MRSC rosters contract renewal. Okay. I suspect that those of you who've been on the council before know that this is a pro forma action that is required by state mandate. So I'd invite your input.
I move to approve Resolution 06-2019, authorizing the mayor to execute the Small Works consultant and vendor roster contract with MRSC roster substantially in the form attached to the resolution.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Parsons. You've heard him submit for your deliberation the motion to approve Resolution 06-2019. Do we have a second for that motion?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mr. Daly. Do we have any commentary from the council, deliberation of any sort? Okay, hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay, that motion is carried. Thank you for that. All right. Item number 3, council to discuss and consider park rental fee changes. And this was what Mr. Jocelyn, the park board, referred to, that is being presented to you as is appropriate from the park board for council action.
Finally.
Yeah.
Finally,
Finally.
right? I mean, it's like, not to get this, just the whole park fees has been like, from when I was on the park board, that was just a thorn in our side kind of thing. And if you really look at the park fee schedule,
It was
astronomical.
It was pretty
Really, it's
crazy.
It's crazy. So I'm pleased to see that we have the opportunity, to open it up and let things happen there instead of forcing people to find other places to go. No, it's very good. Park board.
Thank you.
Mhm.
That's my opinion.
I have some comments and thoughts about it, just to give you some things to think about if council would like to hear those. You're staring at me, so I assume that means you are
I did
okay
see a
with me
nod
telling
and-
you.
You're gonna tell us no matter what.
I won't, if you don't want to hear it, I won't tell you, it's okay.
No.
No, I think it's a great idea. I'd love to see these fees go down. I think that they are really high personally. That was my opinion as well. I think when the planning committee back in 2011 or 2012, they were ready to get that park going, and it was going to happen in the next 2 months, and so they just were, ready to go, but things didn't work out that way. So I think it's definitely reasonable to reduce the rates. A couple of things that you might need to be aware of just in considering how you want to do it. I think it is reasonable to have some kind of a fee, just because there is additional garbage and cleanup and stuff like that does happen when someone rents or uses the facility for, especially if it's a large event. And that was kind of the second thing I had in mind is what if it is a large event? Should we have something different for if it's going to be like a car show or something like that? Shouldn't that probably be different than someone trying to have a birthday party for their 5-year-old kind of thing? So I'm just thinking that maybe there should be, some thought about that. I did call because I wanted to make sure I was totally understanding the insurance situation and when insurance needs to be provided. And the person that I talked to at our insurance or our risk pool at AWC, I explained the situation and I said, how can we work this so that people who are having a picnic for their 5-year-old and they just want to have cake, but they want to make sure they have some picnic tables, doesn't have to get additional insurance. They're still using the park in the way that it was intended and not doing something extra or dangerous or whatever. They're just, want to make sure that they have a table. And she said she definitely felt that we can set up our policy for park rentals to allow those type of activities to happen without additional insurance, to just have it fall back on the city insurance. She says, but she definitely felt that we needed to have something that allows the city to review it, whatever the activity is, so that if there is something additional, like if they want to bring in a bounce house or they want to do, some other kind of additional activity that is beyond what is normal use of the park, that additional insurance would be required in those cases. So it looks like we could do some more talking about that to make it more flexible and usable for regular use type activities. But if someone's going to bring something extra or it's going to be a huge crowd that's being advertised or something like that, then additional insurance and costs may be required. So that would be my thought for you guys to think about those items, just to keep the city protected and make sure that people can use it for the use that it's intended without astronomical costs. So, does anybody have any questions? Was I clear in what I was trying to say? Okay. That's all. Oh, I was going to bring up electricity also. that there is an additional cost. They do, electricity is available down at McMurphy Park, and we've done that like for the car show and things in the past where we have the electricity turned on by the PUD so that they can use it for an event. There is, the last time the car show did that, it cost a total of $15. I think it was $14.40 something for that, to have the power turned on and then off again, and then the usage for that time period. It came to about just under $15. So there is a little cost, you know, if somebody wants to use electricity down at McMurphy Park.
Is that for an all day, the car
Yeah.
show?
Is there any enforcement of these rules, or who does it? Is it with our contract, the sheriff, or?
No, that goes through
Okay.
City Hall. We have an application process right now. The way it's set up is we have a park rental application, and they have to fill out all the information and then meet the criteria.
He's referring to the park rules.
Oh, the rules.
Yeah.
Oh, I
The
see what you
alcohol, the loud noise.
mean. Yeah, those kind of things would be enforced by the police officer. If we had a report that someone's drinking or doing drugs or something bad, yeah, that would be called in by, yeah, we just call
That's
911.
covered under the.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
That, it doesn't sound like they want to change any of those type of rules. It just sounds like it's if I'm not mistaken, it's just the costs.
Yeah, it's just the cost is just what we want, is this, and if McMurphy Park, when McMurphy Park gets up and going, then we'll probably look at the scenario and maybe readjust some of the fees down there, because we'll have more to offer.
Yeah,
But
there's no, I mean.
But there's nothing down there. We can't compete with Toledo's park right now, so that's basically it. And I mean, we need to cover our costs. We can't go in the hole for having events and stuff, but just to be more competitive and stuff like that, that's all we're asking or
friendly.
thinking is doing.
Okay, well, any other thoughts on the matter? Would the council like us to draft up a motion or a resolution of some sort, or for the next council meeting?
Yeah, we gotta figure out how it's gonna be worded to
Yeah.
cover that. But yeah, it'd be, to get us closer to this,
Mm-hmm.
anything to get us further from that, for sure.
Okay, bounce it off
I
to Jennifer.
can, yeah, I can work on some language and
Mhm.
see what we can come up with as far as how we can make that determination between what requires the insurance and the extra cost and what doesn't and those kind of things. So I can work on that if you guys want me to put something together and then give you some options to think about, or maybe decide on at the next council meeting if you like this idea. It sounds like you do.
See some nods of consent, okay?
Yeah, maybe instead of having multiple tiers, just have 2 tiers. You don't need anything, or you do need insurance.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's pretty cut and dry.
Alrighty. And,
That was one thing that we didn't like as a group is the people, like it says like 0 to 10 people, and just having it, I mean, just basically, I kept saying flat rate, but 2 tiers, I mean, you got this type of function going on, it's this rate, and this type of function going on, it's this rate. I mean, just something simple that we're not driving people when it's,
Yeah.
this wants to have a birthday party or whatever.
Yeah, maybe we could
If
post
you have
a
a car show, I mean, then,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe we need to reevaluate.
family reunion or something will probably be okay, but if you start getting larger than that,
Yeah,
100 people.
you know.
case by case scenario or whatever.
Okay, I think we captured it. So with that, we will table this discussion, and it will be continued at our next council meeting. Alrighty, now we'll proceed with our 4th item, and that is council to continue the discussion involving the Lynn Tile collection location, which is a continuation from our last council meeting. Mr. Parsons has distributed an information sheet on the
Oh, I didn't give you one, sorry.
There's one up here if anybody wants to see.
So I would open it up for council deliberation.
I think one of the main things that we need to make public is that this is not going to happen this weekend. Because there's already people out there on the web saying, I have a truckload of sticks, where do I take it? Chehalis Recycle, or Chehalis has a place to take your sticks for now. We want to do this right, so it's going to take us a little bit of time to get it set up right so that we're not going to have to, in a year or so, try to figure out how we're going to pay for everything or to get this pile removed again. So,
I understand the need for the stick pile. I don't understand the need to clear cut that whole top of that hill for it.
okay. Do we want to just do a portion of it? Have you driven up there?
I mean, it's a beautiful set of trees and stuff, but I mean, I wouldn't imagine needing to take them all down just to put a stick place in.
The only reason I thought of doing it is just to get the extra money so that we could pay for the chipper and that type of, because if we want to do it right, we're going to need more of those blocks to make more bays. We would need the chipper, maybe even a.
Will we be taking the blocks that we have down here?
We would, yeah. Which we would have to hire somebody to move those, because I don't think they'll fit in the back of my truck.
I don't know how you left them.
Yeah.
Our tractor won't lift them.
So that was the only thing, and I haven't thought that much about how much everything will cost, but if we want to figure out all the expenses and then cut enough trees to cover that, is that something that we want to do, or?
Can I ask a question? Once somebody gets their truck loaded up with their limbs and what they need to get rid of, and they drive up the hill, what's the difference between them going there and going another 15 miles to the county, who already has it set up, who already has a way to take payments and to handle the debris, and they don't have to buy anything to make this happen? I mean, I'm not trying to poo-poo the idea, or I would love it if it was closer to the city residents, but I spoke with Judy Costello this week about the results of her cleanup activity, and she was really pleased, except that not a single person brought a branch. Not one person. She had 2 garbage cans full of grass clippings and weeds picked up. Not a single person brought a branch or a tree trimming or anything like that. She had it free and open for 2 days, and nobody brought anything. They have been calling City Hall and complaining about the branch pile not being open. And when is it going to happen? And then have this free event that she has, and nobody comes. And so I guess my thought is, if they're already loading stuff up into their vehicle and they have to travel on the roads to get up to the water treatment plant with their loads, do we really as a city want to take on having to deal with the cost? Because it's going to be a lot of work to keep that up. If we open that, people are going to want to use it. And that's good, except I just worry about the cost and the time and the headache. And if we use that money to get a chipper, that's more cost and maintenance, and who's going to run that? And we lost one of our big volunteers who was willing to help run that stuff. And so I don't know, I just from the logistical and administrative end, it just concerns me a little bit. when it was free and people could just go dump and we didn't have to worry about it too much until it was time to do a big chipping project, I guess that was easier for me to swallow, but it's a little more challenging in this aspect. I mean, I don't know, is the city really ready to take that on? Or would we rather, I mean, if we're gonna clear those trees, would we rather use that, you know, $40,000 to get a couple of streets repaired that are really bad? I don't know.
We do have an individual in the public would like to make a comment.
Your comment about Judy saying she didn't get any tree limbs, I'm actually on her page, and she says she doesn't accept them. So that's
Tree
probably,
limbs?
yeah, no tree limbs.
Yeah.
No branches or tree limbs, and that's probably why she didn't receive any if she put it on
Says
the internet.
no branches?
Yeah, here, if you want to look at the page.
I remember
Well,
reading
she,
that
when
too.
she was
Yeah.
here, oh, maybe
Well,
that's
because she had
why.
me note it in the paper as well,
No
like no
tree
tree
limbs.
limbs, and I was
Then
told
what
that
was she
different times.
expecting? Yeah, because she had one.
Yeah, so
That's
that's
what she
it's
stood
on
here
Little
and
Falls
told me.
Community Center page.
Oh.
Yeah,
I was
I
kinda
remember
sitting there
reading
like,
that.
Oh,
I
that's
feel like that's
weird.
really wrong.
Yeah, okay.
So that would probably be why she didn't get the
That
tree
might be
limbs
why.
on
So,
clippings.
but she was the one who told me, who came in and said, I can't believe nobody brought their
She
stuff. And
told
I'm
us
like,
all not to bring them, otherwise I'm sure she would
Maybe
not
that's,
plenty.
maybe that's why.
Okay.
That would make sense.
Another comment from the public?
We're talking about insurance for things like parties at the park, but what kind of insurance is gonna be needed to run that? Because
That's
there's
additional.
chippers, there's people getting hurt, there's public up there, you know, there's a reason why the public can't go very far into a dump because of insurance obligations. So I'm just wondering, as someone who would maybe use it or maybe have a fire pit in their backyard, I don't know how that would work. That's frightening to think that somebody could potentially get hurt up there.
I agree.
That has always been an issue.
That's all, yeah.
Not to mention, if we do have to monitor any such chipping operation, it is also going to require the services of our one public works employee. But here again, so those are other additional elements that need to be taken under advisement here. But I don't get to vote on it. And, certainly wouldn't hurt to have $50,000 or $60,000 of revenue available.
Our street fund could really use that money.
Yeah.
Well, this would be separate from the chipper project.
No, that's what.
Yes.
This
This,
can be
this
separate.
could be,
Oh, it
Yeah.
could, yeah.
Yeah,
it
we
could
could
be.
use the
You
money
could-
for
Yeah,
anything.
you could use this money for whatever you
So this
want.
may be a great idea, at least for that part of it, for revenue.
Do you have a comment?
Original thought on having a charge for people to bring their branches was so that we could afford to then turn around and run and ship it. Now, if we end up coming up with a way, this or any other way, to be able to purchase a chipper, we could really go back to the free dumping because we wouldn't have to have that charge anymore to rent the chipper.
There would be maintenance.
but,
fuel,
yeah, but there'd
and
still be maintenance and everything else to it. Nothing, I mean, getting rid of your branches is not free. I mean,
Right.
you know, there might be the free spot that we used to take it to, but that wasn't really free. Everybody paid for it because it came out of the budget to get it cleaned up.
And we
So-
weren't supposed to be doing it there because it's not our
Yeah.
property, so.
We did have a comment from a member of
Well, I was
our
gonna say the
city
same
staff.
thing, when you have insurance, you have to collect something to offset the cost that it would take to run it. And if you did the lobbying, you could have maybe an event twice a year where you have two big things from Lewis County dumpsters and monitor it just one day so everybody can bring their things. So that's an idea too, but you're gonna have to charge no matter what to offset what it's gonna cost.
I think that's a super idea, instead of having an ongoing pile that's open, planning it in the budget to pay, you know, what, I think Judy said it was like $400 for one of those containers, you know, to do that, I know, twice a year, have it set, and once in the spring, once in the fall, and you know, people could come and dump all of their limbs, and we would tell them, limbs are accepted. So, but I don't know, that would be a lot less hassle on my end at City Hall, I would think, and then also, you know, you wouldn't have to worry about trying to man it with volunteers and things like that on a regular basis. The other thing I thought of when you guys were talking about the trees and the cutting the lumber, I have no idea how old those trees are up there, but I know once they get beyond a certain size, that they are less and less valuable. So I don't know what status those trees are in, if they're getting close to that size or if they still have years and years to go, but I'd hate to see them go so big that then they become nothing but a problem that we have to take care of, and we cut them down and we get nothing out of them. I'd like to see if we are going to have to harvest them at some point, to harvest them while they're at their prime and then replant, you know, for future generations. But I don't know, just something else to think about as far as harvesting the trees.
Okay. Well, all right. Any other council comments? Okay. No action, no motions. Shall we continue to deliberate on this at the next council meeting?
Yeah, we should put it back on the thing so that we at least make a decision whether we're going to do it or not do it at all.
Are there any questions that you guys would like me to look into to find answers to regarding this? Not at this point. Well, if you think of anything, let me know.
Okay. All right. Well, then thank you for that discussion and for the input from members of the public. That concludes the city business portion of our agenda. We will now proceed with the public comment. And,
Did everybody get a chance who wanted to sign up for public comment? Then I guess I'm the only one.
oh, okay. All right. Well, this is highly unusual.
Because you guys just don't get to hear me talk enough. Well, it's unfortunate that some of our residents aren't here, that I was hoping to help clarify for them, but as some of you probably have noticed, there were some comments on Facebook, which often there are, that are negative. Most of the comments that people make are nice and positive, and I appreciate all the support because we have a lot of great people and a lot of good people in this community that want what's best for the city. But there were some accusations made that were relating to my actions, and so I wanted to clear it up with everybody what the truth is about the activities. So I wanted to let you know that Tammy Brandica, our deputy clerk, and myself, when we heard that the mayor was going, his house sold, and that he was going to be leaving soon, we wanted to have a little get together, a little luncheon or something, just to tell him thank you. And so we decided to go ahead and work on doing that. So we talked to the mayor and found a good time when City Hall was closed so that it wouldn't affect city business. We have rented City Hall for $5, just like anyone in the public is allowed to do. They can come and rent City Hall anytime it's not in use for council's use. Anyone can come and rent it for $5. So I can have a receipt to show you if you'd like to see that. We rented City Hall on Friday to honor the mayor. We cannot afford to pay for lunch for everybody in the community, so we picked a select few, including council members and people who are on boards here at City Hall and people who've worked with the mayor closely in the past and are close friends. So we have a small group of people that we've invited. I'm sorry that we can't afford to pay for everyone's lunch in the community. We would love to be able to do that, but we just don't make that much. So I just wanted to let you know that we are paying for all the food. We are paying for the rental of City Hall. Three of our four employees are going to be here during their day off. So it will not be during their paid time on the clock. It will be my lunch break, so I will not be on the clock. No one will be doing it on the clock. And let's see, oh, the last thing I wanted to make clear is that this will not be an open public meeting, because although a quorum will be here, there will not be any city business allowed to be discussed. And I will monitor that. And make sure that is legal, that is allowed to do, that they are allowed to get together as a group as long as they don't discuss any city business and don't make any decisions. So it's not considered an open public meeting in that case. And I have talked with the city attorney about that in the past, and she has agreed that yes, that is allowable. So I just wanted to clear that up for everybody. I don't know if my 3 minutes
Yes, it's come close.
long since up, but I just wanted to clear that up so that nobody had to wonder if we were doing something illegal or against the rules. If somebody would like to put together an event to honor the mayor, to invite the whole community, go for it. I just didn't have the ability or desire to do that. So if someone in the community would like to do that and honor the mayor, I definitely think he deserves it. So go ahead and I will support you. and
Your
help you
time is
100%.
definitely up.
Okay, that's it. There was a hand, but I know we don't.
Yeah, there's no comment in public comment.
Well, I don't do Facebook and stuff, so I was curious what was said that
Yeah.
You don't want to
You don't wanna- if you
know. It's
haven't
a waste
seen
of
it,
time.
Don't go there.
Yeah.
It's filthy.
I don't know on Facebook.
that nasty, huh?
Yes,
It's getting pretty rough lately.
yeah.
It is. Okay, well, thank you for that supportive public comment, not only supportive, but fact-based. So we appreciate that. Well, then that concludes public comment. Great. So now it's time for the last official item on the agenda, and that's the elected official comments. Yes?
There was a comment made at one of the meetings about
Mhm.
the potholes in the streets, nothing being done with them. You know, and all of this was supposed to get done and everything. Well, I want people to know that I saw John out there filling potholes in the streets, and he was doing a wonderful job.
Thank Excellent.
Well, where are all these potholes at?
Well, excuse me, wait, unfortunately, we don't get feedback. Sorry. But, well, let's see, any other comments from council? Hearing none, then I'm going to have the last word here, maybe. You can add more later. But, so, to segue nicely with Jill's comments, I do have a document I need to share with all of you. This is an official notice to each of you, which is a letter that it's dated April 25th and is directed to the Vader City Council. And the letter is an official notice to inform the council and the world in this public meeting that I've made the decision to formally resign from my position as Mayor of Vader effective today's date. And I won't read it in its entirety, but I would like to make note as a matter of public record that I've been functioning as mayor for 11 years, 3 months and 25 days. And I tried to calculate how many meetings I'd attended, but I know it's well over 1,000, and who knows how many countless hours I've been involved in this. And I knew the day would eventually come, but I didn't know when. But we have had to make the financial decision with our family and our son and daughter-in-law and 4 grandkids to spread out and go into the country with some little farm. And our house sold more quickly than we thought, and so now the end has arrived for me. But I wanted to express my gratitude to all of the residents of Vader, whoever may read the minutes of this meeting, because I have stood by this community through thick and thin, from financial meltdown to an effort to disincorporate this community, and a marijuana effort to legalize commercial enterprises of that sort in the city. But overarching everything, it has been my greatest satisfaction to encourage the development of a city council of individuals such as those who are on the council at this moment in time. When I first arrived at this city was divided like the Hatfields and McCoys in South Carolina. There was hate and enmity and division and contention that just ripped the community in half. And the council was, there were a few ordinances that were observed, and it was kind of a throwback to the Old West. But I know Lois is sitting there, she was here and saw that, right?
Sitting right there. Until Andy couldn't hear you and we moved. We traded seats.
Yeah. So, it's been quite a ride. But overarching even that is that I think I've gone through 110 volunteers within this community of 640 and the various committees and boards and such. And I think I've gone through 30 different employees to get to, in the sifting process, to get to the professional employees that we have now in the city of Vader. And I vouch for them, and I will encourage their continued association with this community. But you are the beating heart of the future of this city. I'm glad you mentioned this Facebook page. I've been monitoring the Facebook page, and I get feedback from members of the community. Contrary to what you would hear, the individuals who are part of that enterprise are obviously not here for probably a very apparent reason, but that's okay, because I think as elected officials, you embrace the reality that there's going to be opposition in all things. And where there is good, there's going to be an equal but opposite effort to undermine that. As some have said, it takes a thick skin to run for office in the city. But contrary to what I read on this, the individuals who foster and foment this tend to gravitate towards contention and fault-finding and complaining, and seldom, if ever, offer solutions to problems. And they tend to claim that the city council members are out of touch with the constituency of the city, and claim that they have dozens and dozens of individuals who support their negativity and their perspective of non-performance. But I want these council members and the city employees to know that in my experience, it takes on average 125 votes to win an election. And my experience tells me that these individuals who are negative cannot successfully garner more than 40 or 50 such individuals. And so, despite their claim that they are in the majority, I have learned in my 3 election cycles that that is not accurate. It is misinformation. And that the efforts that they're making to create division and dissension in this community are not being warmly received by the majority of this community. And that is the feedback I get. And when they claim that the council members and the mayor are not in touch with it, I disagree vehemently in my mind, because I am in touch with the majority of the individuals in this community, and I get feedback from them, and this group is, and I make this a matter of public record, and I hope that they're able to listen to this, because I have the facts to substantiate what I'm about to say. That is that they are not winning friends and influencing people in a way that will garner a victory in the ballot box in November. So I would admonish the members of this council to stand true to truth and fact. Keep going about doing the good that you're doing. We have turned the tide in this community, and I'm going to, even though we may not live in this community, I'm going to be forever supportive of your efforts to create unity in this. and try to minimize the influence of the naysaying, fault-finding potshotters who seem to get up in the morning looking for ways to complain and seldom take the time to find solutions to the problems for which they create. So with that, I'm going to express my farewell to all of you and my eternal gratitude for the courage that you have all demonstrated to me as mayor, because I would not have continued in this service without individuals such as you and our city staff who are here. So thank you, and I will take the city keys, because when you announce this way, it is immediate and takes effect. It's state law. There is no waiting period. You don't get to say, I'll do it in a week. So this is the end of the line for me as the mayor of Vader. So I have the keys in hand. Joe, if you pass that over to, yeah, these are keys to the
Joe
city.
should have
I ain't touching them.
He's the mayor pro tem.
Pro tem.
Thanks.
Well, with that, my son made this gavel for me. I've used it for 10 years. I will adjourn this meeting officially at 6:55 p.m. and I will take this gavel and
Thank you all for being